Panama is forcing authorities to substantially scale back shipping through the Panama Canal, one of the world's key shipping channels.
40% of all U.S. container traffic passes through it.
The U.S. government has just shut down the Panama Canal, and this surprising move has left many shocked, especially since the canal is a major route for global trade. Interestingly, a $4 billion rival is set to take over from the Panama Canal. This change is seen as long overdue due to the canal's persistent crises, from climate change to drought. The key questions are, where is this $4 billion rival, and when will it take over? Join us as we explore the U.S. shutdown of the Panama Canal and the $4 billion rival that is set to take over. U.S. just shut down the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal is extending its transit restrictions because of drought-induced low water levels. This key shipping route, which handles 6% of global maritime trade, is facing a significant backlog of cargo vessels. The restrictions, earlier announced, will last for at least 10 more months. With the peak shipping season approaching, especially with the holidays nearing, the canal's deputy administrator noted that there's a surge in cargo movement. Ships are currently struggling with lighter loads or alternative routes to avoid delays. The backlog of ships is now around 115. How long did these restrictions last for? When was the canal opened again? What you're about to hear will blow your mind. The canal authorities hope the restrictions will last until the next rainy season, since the lack of rain affects the canal's locks, which act as water elevators. Normally, ships wait 3 to 5 days, but now it's up to 11 days on average. An expansion project completed in 2016 was a major boost for trade, but the current restrictions have led to confusion. The Panamanian president clarified that while there are restrictions, the canal is not closed. For a canal as crucial to global trade as the Panama Canal, it would take significant action from the U.S. government to shut it down. However, with the canal struggling to serve its purpose due to factors like climate change, such a move might eventually be necessary. A prolonged dry season has caused water levels to drop, limiting the number of vessels passing through. This situation, along with a recent drought, has left a large number of ships waiting to cross, raising questions about the need for an alternative route between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Also, more than 200 ships are stuck, floating in a massive traffic jam, according to some estimates. These ships are loaded with various goods, from consumer products to oil, gas, and grain, all intended to pass through the canal. Due to the drought, water levels in reservoirs that supply the canal have dropped, forcing operators to limit the size and number of ships crossing each day. With an estimated $270 billion worth of goods passing through the canal yearly, the impact on global trade is immense. Some ships are even opting for detours to avoid delays, which could increase freight costs, particularly for fuel, and potentially affect consumer prices. This situation has also reignited discussions about alternative routes between the Pacific and Atlantic. However, before this, the history of the canal construction can also shed more light. The first attempt to build a canal through Panama began on January 1, 1881. Inspired by Ferdinand de Lesseps, who had successfully built the Suez Canal, the French faced enormous challenges in Panama. The canal was supposed to be shorter than the Suez, but the dense jungles, heavy rains, and tropical diseases made it a huge task. Despite using advanced equipment like steam shovels and bucket chain excavators, the French effort faced high worker mortality from diseases like yellow fever and malaria. By 1889, the French project went bankrupt after spending around $287 million and losing thousands of workers. A scandal, known as the Panama Affair, led to the prosecution of several key figures, including Ferdinand de Lesseps, the $4 billion rival to the Panama Canal. In the early 1900s, the United States had the choice between building a canal through Panama or Nicaragua. Panama was selected because the route was shorter and didn't have active volcanoes like Nicaragua. Despite this, the idea of a Nicaraguan canal has lingered for decades. A recent push in 2010 by a Chinese businessman to create a canal through Nicaragua never materialized. Now, with the drought's effect on the Panama Canal and the ongoing concerns about climate change, some believe revisiting the idea of a Nicaraguan canal or exploring other routes in Central America could be worth considering. According to Jean-Paul Rodrigue at Hofstra University, building a Nicaraguan canal is technically possible, but there are significant challenges. The main issue is the longer distances involved. Any route through Nicaragua would likely require two canals connecting Lake Nicaragua to both the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. One canal would be about 15 miles long, while the other, leading to the Atlantic, would stretch around 60 miles. In comparison, the Panama Canal is about 50 miles in total length. Estimates for building the Nicaraguan canal vary, but the project could cost over $40 billion. This is roughly twice the cost of London's Crossrail Railway. For investors, a steady flow of ships would need to be assured. However, even if financial backing was secured, environmental concerns remain. Critics have pointed out potential issues like deforestation, pollution of Lake Nicaragua, and disruption of nearby waterways. Despite these challenges, attempts have been made to build the canal. In 2013, a Chinese company called HKND signed a deal with the Nicaraguan government to construct the canal, with a 50-year agreement, renewable for another 50 years. However, the project never took off, and HKND closed its office in 2018. The company's website now redirects to an online gambling page. Local communities in Nicaragua, especially women, resisted the canal plans, voicing concerns about transparency and environmental protection. Sarah McCall Harris, who researched this issue for her PhD, noted that many residents felt the project lacked adequate safeguards. There is also speculation that Nicaragua may not have been fully committed to the plans and could have been using the project to show the US that it had other international partners, such as China. Although progress seems to have slowed, Nicaraguan officials maintain that the canal project is not over. During a visit to Belarus in May, Nicaragua's foreign minister claimed the plan was still active and hinted at possible involvement from Belarus, though no concrete commitment has come from Belarus yet. In the past, Belarus had shown interest in supplying machinery for the project, but nothing has materialized. Some experts are highly skeptical of the Nicaraguan canal. Maritime analyst Michelle Wiese-Bockmann has dismissed the idea due to the lack of progress over the years. While the Nicaraguan canal faces many challenges, it's worth noting the engineering marvel that is the existing Panama Canal. According to civil engineering experts, the precision involved in guiding large container ships through the locks with only inches to spare is impressive. Passing through the older lock system consumes about 500 million liters of water, while the newer route, opened in 2016, requires around 200 million liters per ship. This process happens dozens of times daily, but the ongoing drought has reduced the number of ships able to pass through. For Panamax-sized ships, daily crossings have dropped from 23 to 16, while Neo-Panamax-sized vessels are still limited to 10 per day. The Panama Canal system functions like giant liquid steps, allowing ships to travel up and down and reaching heights of about 85 feet above sea level at Lake Gatun. The newer locks, part of the canal's expansion, were designed to conserve water by reusing some of it. However, the ongoing drought has affected the number and size of vessels that can pass through, undermining the project's goal. While ship delays are normal, the current backlog has worsened significantly, with over 200 ships waiting compared to last year's 149. Typically, the canal operator expects around 90 ships to be in the queue, but there are currently 120 vessels waiting, according to recent counts. To combat future water shortages, the canal's management proposes expediting plans to build a third reservoir, a smaller project compared to constructing an entirely new canal. This is crucial since the reservoirs support the canal and provide drinking water for the region. If Lake Gatun were to dry up, it could take several years of normal rainfall to refill it. What do you think about these potential routes? Do you think the Panama Canal has outlived its usefulness? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to check out the next video on your screen. You will enjoy it.